Inside a 27-story private skyscraper in Mumbai, there is a room that produces artificial snowflakes on demand. Not a ski resort, not a theme park. A room inside a house, built because the owner's wife wanted to feel winter in a city where the temperature rarely drops below 80 degrees. The man who built that room also built a telecom network with over 500 million subscribers, threw a $600 million wedding for his son, and controls a company responsible for roughly 10% of India's entire GDP. His name is Mukesh Ambani, and the Ambani family is not just rich. They are a category of wealth that the word billionaire was never designed to describe. The clerk who built an empire from spices. Every dynasty starts somewhere. For the Ambanis, it started in a dusty port town in Aden, Yemen, in the late 1950s. Picture a young man barely out of his teens, no university degree, no family connections, no capital, standing in a warehouse stacked with crates of spices and bolts of cheap fabric. His name was Dhirubhai Ambani, and his job was to sort, count, and catalogue merchandise for a small trading company. A clerk, the lowest rung on the commercial ladder, paid just enough to share a room with other workers and eat 2 meals a day. But Dhirubhai was not learning the job, he was learning the game. He watched how margins were set behind closed doors, how goods were priced differently across borders depending on who was buying and who was desperate to sell, how relationships between buyers and sellers could be leveraged to create profits from thin air. He memorized shipping schedules, currency fluctuations, and the names of every trader who walked through the warehouse doors. By the time he returned to India in 1958, he carried something far more valuable than savings. He carried a playbook written in the language of global trade, a mental map of how money really moves when nobody is watching. In 1966, in the middle of India's suffocating license, Raj, a regulatory system so restrictive that starting a business required navigating a maze of permits, quotas, and government approvals that could take years, Dhirubhai founded Reliance Textiles Industries. He started with fabrics. Simple polyester and textiles sold to middle-class Indian families. Nothing glamorous, nothing revolutionary on the surface. But underneath, the man was building a machine designed to scale vertically, textiles to polyester, polyester to petrochemicals, petrochemicals to oil refining. The crown achievement was the Jamnagar refinery, which became the single largest oil refinery on Earth at a single location, processing over 1.4 million barrels of crude per day, employing tens of thousands of workers in a facility so massive it has its own internal road network, its own power plant, and its own port. A small city built to convert raw crude oil into the fuel that powers the subcontinent. But the move that truly changed India forever came in 1977, when Reliance launched its IPO. Dhirubhai did not target institutional investors or banks. He went directly to the people. Millions of middle-class Indians, teachers, shopkeepers, auto rickshaw drivers, bought shares in Reliance, becoming shareholders in a company that many of them could barely explain. He held shareholder meetings in cricket stadiums because no conference hall in the country was large enough to hold the crowds. It was the first time ordinary Indians felt like they owned a piece of the future. And that emotional bond between Reliance and the Indian public became a support system that no competitor could replicate and no regulator could break. A clerk in a spice warehouse built the largest private company in Indian history. What is the humblest job you have ever worked that taught you the most? Drop it in the comments. The war between brothers. And then the man who built it all died without a will. In 2002, Dhirubhai Ambani suffered a stroke and passed away, leaving behind the most valuable private company in India and absolutely no written instructions about who should control it. The empire he had spent 4 decades building was suddenly up for grabs, and the 2 men standing at the edge of the cliff were his own sons, Mukesh Ambani and Anil Ambani, brothers, heirs, and now rivals. The feud between them became the most public corporate war India had ever witnessed. Stock exchanges shook. Media outlets ran 24-hour coverage. Regulatory bodies scrambled to contain the fallout. Investors who had trusted Reliance with their life savings watched in horror as the empire that Dhirubhai built appeared to crack down the middle. Picture 2 brothers sitting across from each other in a room, with their mother between them, Kokilaben Ambani, a woman who had watched her husband build everything from nothing and now had to divide it before her sons destroyed it entirely. In 2005, she brokered the split. Mukesh took Reliance Industries Limited, the refining, petrochemicals, and oil and gas divisions, the heavy iron, the industrial backbone. Anil received telecom, power generation, and financial services, the flashier, faster-moving sectors. At the time, many analysts believed Anil had gotten the better deal. Telecom was the future. Energy was old money. The talking heads on business television declared that Anil Ambani had outmaneuvered his older brother, securing the faster-growing sectors while Mukesh was left holding the heavy iron of refining and petrochemicals. But over the next 2 decades, the outcomes diverged so dramatically they barely seemed to come from the same family. Mukesh's branch became an engine of unprecedented scale, doubling, tripling, expanding into entirely new industries with a discipline that bordered on obsession. Anil's branch struggled under mounting debt, legal battles, regulatory penalties, and competitive pressure that squeezed his companies from every direction. One brother would build a $4.6 billion home and throw a $600 million wedding. The other would stand in a courtroom and publicly declare himself bankrupt, telling a judge he had no assets of meaningful value. Same father, same name, same starting line, radically different destinations. The $35 billion gamble. What Mukesh Ambani did next was either the most brilliant strategic bet in modern business history or the most expensive act of insanity ever funded by a single individual. Most people still cannot decide which one it was. The only thing everyone agrees on is that it worked. In 2016, Reliance launched Jio, a brand new telecommunications network built entirely from scratch, with an investment exceeding $35 billion. Not an acquisition, not a partnership. A ground-up construction project involving millions of kilometers of fiber optic cable, thousands of cell towers, and a software infrastructure designed to handle a population of over 1 billion people. And on launch day, Ambani did something that made every telecom CEO on the planet choke on their morning coffee. He offered 4G data, completely free, unlimited, for months. The impact was nuclear. Incumbent carriers who had been charging premium rates for sluggish 3G data watched their subscriber bases hemorrhage overnight. Small telecom companies folded. Major players scrambled to slash prices and match the offering, bleeding cash they could not afford to lose. Within a year, Jio had not just entered the market, it had reshaped India's entire digital infrastructure, driving data costs down to the lowest in the world and putting a smartphone in the hands of hundreds of millions of people who had never been online. Within 5 years, it had amassed over 500 million subscribers, a customer base larger than the combined populations of the United States and Canada. The platform attracted more than $20 billion in foreign investment from global giants, including Facebook and Google, who recognized that whoever controlled India's digital pipes controlled access to the fastest-growing consumer market on Earth. But Ambani was not finished. Reliance Retail expanded into one of India's largest brick-and-mortar and e-commerce chains. A partnership with Disney created JioStar, a media powerhouse. Jio Financial Services launched as a standalone entity, offering lending, payments, and insurance. And underneath it all, Reliance committed over $80 billion to green energy, solar manufacturing, green hydrogen production, battery technology, and post-carbon infrastructure. The oil refining empire was building its own replacement before anyone else had finished writing the business plan. Ambani spent $35 billion building a telecom network from zero and gave the data away free. Would you bet your entire fortune on a product you plan to give away? Tell me in the comments. The skyscraper they call home. Now let us talk about the house. Except calling it a house is like calling the Pacific Ocean a puddle. Antilia, named after a mythical Atlantic island, rises 27 stories above Altamount Road in South Mumbai, one of the most expensive stretches of real estate on the planet. The building stands 173 meters tall. It contains approximately 400,000 square feet of living space, and it houses exactly one family. Construction began in 2006 and finished in 2010, designed by Perkins & Will out of Chicago, with interiors by Hirsch Bedner Associates and structural engineering by Sterling Engineering. The building is engineered to withstand a magnitude 8 earthquake in a city that sits on a seismic zone where tremors are not a theory but a historical reality. Every floor has a unique design, no two levels look the same, as if 27 different luxury residences were stacked on top of each other. The finishes include crystals, imported marble from Italy, and mother-of-pearl inlays that catch the light differently depending on the time of day. Architectural motifs draw on the lotus flower and the sun, recurring through every corridor and common space. The entire structure adheres to Vastu Shastra principles, ancient Indian architectural guidelines governing spatial harmony, to such a degree that a ritual ceremony was conducted in 2011 before the family officially moved in. Construction and land costs pushed the price to between $1 and $2 billion. But with Mumbai's relentless real estate appreciation, the current estimated value has climbed to approximately $4.6 billion. 3 rooftop helipads where helicopters land and take off above the Mumbai skyline like taxis. 6 to 9 levels of climate-controlled underground parking for 168 cars, with a full-service automotive maintenance facility built into the basement, so the vehicles never need to leave the building for an oil change or tire rotation. A private 50-seat cinema with a screen and sound system that rival commercial IMAX theaters. A grand ballroom draped in crystal chandeliers, where each fixture was hand-assembled by European craftsmen. A spa, salon, yoga studio, and dance studio spread across dedicated floors. Multiple swimming pools, including terrace infinity pools, with panoramic views of the Mumbai skyline stretching from the Arabian Sea to the distant hills. Multi-level hanging gardens inspired by the ancient Babylonian style, bringing green canopies and flowering vines into a vertical urban tower. A private temple for family worship, and the crown jewel of absurdity, the snow room, where artificial snowflakes fall from the ceiling on command, offering climate relief in a city where the humidity alone can melt your willpower. Between 500 and 600 staff members work in rotating shifts to keep Antilia running around the clock. Chefs preparing meals across multiple kitchens. Housekeepers maintaining 400,000 square feet of living space that must look museum perfect at every hour. Engineers monitoring structural systems, climate control, and water filtration. A security detail operating 24/7 with surveillance technology that rivals government installations. Gardeners tending the hanging gardens that require daily care to survive in a vertical concrete environment. Drivers standing ready in the basement with a fleet of armored sedans and luxury vehicles fueled and polished at all times. An entire village of employees dedicated to maintaining a single family's residence. The operating cost alone runs into millions of dollars per year. Wings, wheels, and global footprint. If Antilia is home base, then Mukesh Ambani's private aviation fleet is the bridge to everywhere else. The flagship is a fully customized Boeing 737 MAX 9 BBJ, the first privately owned aircraft of its kind in India, delivered in August 2024. Picture a commercial airliner stripped of its 200 economy seats and rebuilt as a flying penthouse. The base price starts at roughly $118 million. After the interior customization, private master suites with full-size beds, a conference room with secure satellite communications, a gourmet galley where a personal chef prepares meals at 40,000 feet, spa-level bathrooms with rainfall showers, and high-speed internet that works over the middle of the Atlantic, the total cost climbs past $150 million. The cabin spans over 1,100 square feet, roughly 3 times the size of a typical business jet. It can fly non-stop from Mumbai to New York, over 6,000 nautical miles, without touching the ground. The fleet does not stop there. Additional aircraft include an Airbus A319 ACJ, Bombardier Globals, Dassault Falcons, and multiple helicopters. On the ground, the 168 car garage at Antilia holds a collection that reads like a luxury auto show catalogue: multiple Rolls-Royce Phantoms and Cullinans, armored Maybach sedans, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Bentleys, and Range Rovers. The garage is climate-controlled and maintained to museum standards. The automotive collection alone is valued in the hundreds of crores of rupees. And then there are the homes scattered across the globe, forming a network of private retreats and strategic outposts. A 3,000 square foot mansion on Palm Jumeirah in Dubai, 10 bedrooms, private beach, pools, and a spa, overlooking the Persian Gulf, purchased for approximately $80 million. Stoke Park in Buckinghamshire, England, a historic 300-acre estate with a luxury hotel, a championship golf course, and grounds that have appeared in James Bond films, acquired in 2021 for roughly $70 to $80 million. Prime real estate near Central Park in New York City, valued at approximately $98 million, positioned in one of the most exclusive corridors on Manhattan's Upper East Side, and a property at 11 Hubert Street in Tribeca, purchased in 2025 for approximately $20 million, intended as a family retreat in downtown Manhattan. The global property portfolio alone is estimated at over 30,000 crore rupees, roughly $3.5 billion in real estate, spread across 4 continents. The dynasty that owns India's future. Now zoom out to the full picture. Reliance Industries generates annual revenue of approximately $125 billion. Its market capitalization fluctuates between $180 billion and $250 billion. It employs over 400,000 people. It accounts for roughly 10% of India's GDP. The Ambani family holds approximately 50% ownership through a complex network of holding companies and trusts. Mukesh Ambani's personal net worth is estimated between $88 billion and $99 billion, with the broader family's collective wealth landing between $105 billion and $120 billion. But the numbers on a screen do not capture what the Ambani family actually represents. This is not just a fortune. This is infrastructure. The telecom towers that connect 500 million phones, the refineries that process the fuel powering the economy, the retail stores where millions shop daily, the streaming platforms where a nation watches cricket matches, Bollywood premieres, and breaking news, the financial services arm that is quietly building the lending and payments layer for the next generation of Indian commerce. Remove Reliance from India, and you do not just lose a company, you lose a structural pillar that the entire economy leans on. The lights flicker, the phones go dark, the supply chains seize. That is not wealth, that is dependency. And dependency, in the language of power, is the most valuable asset any family can hold, and the next generation is already in motion. The family's external investment portfolio, managed through their family office with a satellite operation in Singapore, is estimated at $15 to $20 billion, with exposure to private AI ventures, venture capital funds like Peak 15 Partners and Excel India, and luxury retail through Reliance Brands. They own the Mumbai Indians IPL cricket franchise, valued at approximately $242 million. At Anant Ambani's 2024 wedding, a $600 million celebration, guests included heads of state, global pop stars, and tech billionaires, and the jewelry on display included multi-layered diamond necklaces from Harry Winston and Cartier, alongside Richard Mille watches, valued at over $1.2 million each. And here is the part that separates the Ambanis from every other billionaire family on the planet. They are not just preserving wealth, they are actively engineering the succession. Over 500 senior leaders are being groomed to ensure continuity. The next generation is embedded in co-leadership structures designed specifically to prevent the kind of war that nearly tore the family apart after Dhirubhai's death. They learned from the fracture. They coded the lesson into the operating system of the empire itself. From a clerk counting spices in a Yemen warehouse to a dynasty that shapes the economic destiny of 1.4 billion people, the Ambani family is not just richer than you think. They are more powerful than most nations. Their telecom network connects more people than any single carrier in the Western world. Their refinery processes more crude than most countries produce. Their retail stores serve more customers per day than some nations have citizens. And they are still building, still expanding, still adding floors to a tower that already has no ceiling. A spice clerk's grandson threw a $600 million wedding and controls 10% of India's GDP. Is the Ambani empire the greatest rags to riches story ever told, or something else entirely? Let me know what you think. Before you go, here are 3 strategic truths from this story. First, control beats wealth every single time. Mukesh Ambani's net worth fluctuates with the stock market, but his 50% ownership stake, embedded through layers of trusts and holding companies, means no board vote, no shareholder revolt, and no hostile takeover can touch him. The richest people are not the ones with the highest net worth. They are the ones who can never be removed. Second, the most dangerous move in business is giving something away for free if you can afford to outlast everyone who cannot. Jio gave away free data for months. Competitors collapsed. When the free period ended, 500 million people were already locked into the ecosystem. The $35 billion gamble paid for itself by destroying the competition before they understood what hit them. Third, the real Ambani fortune is not measured in dollars, it is measured in dependency. When your company powers the phones, fuels the cars, stocks the stores, streams the cricket, and finances the loans of 1.4 billion people, you are not a businessman. You are the operating system of a nation. And operating systems do not get replaced, they get updated. If this story changed the way you see wealth and power, hit subscribe and turn on notifications for Billionaire Story. Because next time, we are pulling back the curtain on another empire that is hiding in plain sight.